Hello, my dear students. This is Chapter 8, Lesson 4, What are some machines? So, before talking about machines, let's see what is work. Work is the use of a force to move an object. The use of a force to move an object. Which means, when you use a force on an object, if this object moved, then you've done work. But if the object didn't move, that means no work is done. For example, when you open a door, you're using force to push the door, and the door moves. That means you've done work. Lifting your bag, you used force and the bag moved. Then you've done work. Pushing a wall, you used force to push the wall, but the wall didn't move, which means no work is done. Even if you're using a lot of force, as long as the object didn't move, that means no work is done. So, if you used force to move an object and the object moved, then you've done work. But if you used a force to move an object and the object didn't move, no work is done. Now, machines can make work easier. If you want to move an object, lift it, hold it, split it, you can use machines to make this easier. There are two kinds of machines, simple machines and complex machines. Simple machines. A simple machine is a tool with few or no moving parts. So it has few moving parts or no moving parts at all. There are 6 simple machines: wedge, screw, lever, pulley, wheel and axle, inclined plane. Wedge, screw, lever, pulley, wheel and axle, inclined plane. Let's look at the first one. Lever. A lever is made up of a rigid bar that rests on a fixed point. This is the rigid bar, and here's the fixed point. The fixed point is called fulcrum, and the object that we want to move or lift is called the load. When we push on this side, the other side will rise up. Let's look at this picture. A man is lifting a stone by using a lever. This is the fulcrum, this is the load, and this is the rigid bar. It makes the work easier. It's easier than pushing the rock by his hands. Seesaw also is a kind of lever. This is the fulcrum and this is the bar. When you push one side, the other side goes up. Inclined plane. An inclined plane is a flat surface that is higher on one end. It helps us to move objects up and down. These are some examples of inclined planes in our lives. In these two, we can use them to move a cart or a wheelchair or a stroller. It's easier than carrying them. Here, this one is for the cars and this one that helps people to move objects into a van. Wedge is another simple machine. It is made up of 2 inclined planes that meet and form a sharp edge that can split objects into pieces. An example of a wedge is the axe. The axe is used to cut wood because it has a sharp edge, which we call a wedge. Also, a knife is another example of wedge. It's also used to cut objects. Screw. A screw is an inclined plane that wrapped around a shaft. We have different shapes and sizes of screws. The screw is used to hold things together, as in these pictures. Another simple machine is wheel and axle. A wheel and axle is made up of a rod that goes through a round object. The round object is called the wheel and the rod is the axle. So this is the wheel and here's the axle. We can see wheel and axle in many objects. The doorknob is an example of a wheel and axle. This is the wheel and here's the axle. Also, a wagon has wheel and axle. Other things also in our lives have wheel and axle, like cars, planes, strollers, carts. Wheel and axle help us to move objects from one place to another. It makes it easier to move heavy objects from one place to another. This is another example. First wheel. This is the wheel and here's the axle. Now pulley. Pulley is made up of a wheel and a rope. At one end we have the load and we use the other end to move the object up or down. This is a flagpole. At the top of it you can see the pulley. It is used to move the flag up and down. This is a well. Also we use the pulley to move the bucket up and down. Complex machines. A complex machine is made up of two or more simple machines. So if you have an object that has two simple machines, then it's a complex machine. An example is a wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrow has levers and has wheel and axle, so it is a complex machine. Another example is shears. The handles are levers and the blades are wedges, so it's also a complex machine. Why? It has two simple machines. A bicycle. Bicycle also is a complex machine because it has many simple machines: levers, screws, wheel and axle, and a pulley. We have a lot of simple and complex machines around us. We need them every day. Try to find them and see where are the simple machines. This is the end. I hope to see you soon and please study well.